In spite of efforts to stem the tide on illicit substance abuse in Africa, there has been a consistent rise in the use of psychoactive substances, particularly among adolescents and youths. To combat this rise, Vice President Kashim Shettima has urged heads of national drug law enforcement agencies in Africa to renew the fight against substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking in their respective countries. The Vice President, who spoke at the opening of the 31st meeting of the heads of national drug law enforcement agencies, warned that the continent would remain in chains till it breaks free from the shackles of the criminal enterprises. Our correspondent, Sydney Okafor, has more details in this next report.
Vice President Kashim Shettima arrived the venue of the 31st meeting of the heads of National Drug Law Enforcement Agencies, Africa, HOLAF, alongside his entourage as well as heads of drug law enforcement agencies to hold discussions on ways to tackle illicit drugs and substance use and trafficking ravaging Africa. A report by the National Center for Biotechnology Information, USA, shows that a total of 41.6% of persons in sub-Saharan Africa are reportedly consuming substance, with Central Africa having the highest rate at 55.5%. Speaking on this menace, Vice President Kashim Shettima said the continent will remain in chains till it breaks free from the shackles of criminal enterprises, of drug barons and syndicates of illicit drugs.
I appeal to you to see this conference as a beacon of hope and a catalyst for positive change across our continent. If we don't dismantle the criminal enterprises that threaten our future and build a brighter tomorrow for all Africans, will remain in chains in a disease and immoral world, as will our children and our great-grandchildren.
At the meeting, Chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Buba Mawa, said youth are prone to drug abuse and the majority of people being treated for drug disorders are under the age of 35.
What is worse, the availability of treatment and other services has not kept pace with these developments, and women in particular are suffering from treatment gaps. The world drug problem in all its forms and manifestations affects all of us.
Some stakeholders at the event praised the federal government for taking a brave move in the fight against illicit drugs in Africa in order to address the scourge, which is expected to rise to 40% in the next 7 years.
Next year, the Commission on Narcotic Drugs will hold a midterm review of all international drug policy commitments set forth in the 2019 Ministerial Declaration. The recommendations you put forward will inform the midterm review by bringing regional issues and priorities to the attention of the Commission.
The illicit drug economy fuels insecurity. Drug use disorders are negatively impacting public health and eroding nations' overall well-being.
At the end of the meeting, African leaders and relevant stakeholders agreed to urgently develop and implement workable prevention and treatment strategies to curb this rising public health threat from consuming African youths. Sydney Okafor, TV 360, Lagos.